Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to show you some new holiday season items being released by Wet n Wild, which, if you're not familiar, is a very affordable drugstore brand that has in the past year or so come out with some really high quality products. They're really stepping up the caliber of items that they have in their line. And then when I recently went to my local drugstore, I saw these new eyeshadow palettes and nail polishes for this holiday season. So I thought it would be interesting to gather them up and show them to you, since this is a more accessible brand than I do for some other videos like, say, Bobbi Brown or MAC, which can be quite expensive. So at least at my local drugstores, where you will find this is in a display, and that display is titled the Best in Show items. And technically, I think the 3 eyeshadow palettes are released with the Where's the Party collection, and then these nail polishes are released with the Party Rocks collection. But really, you don't need to know those details in order to buy them because they are all in the same display. Sometimes they will get mixed up and you'll find them in the regular permanent Wet n Wild display. But where I found mine was in a limited edition display separate from where the permanent Wet n Wild products usually are. So you kind of do have to walk around your drugstore and look for them. So anyway, as always, I will have photos of the swatches that I show you in this video on allurabeauty.com, as well as photos of the nail polishes applied, and then I will do more in-depth reviews that you can read if you would like to on the website. Alright, let's take a look at all of these items. So there are 3 limited edition eyeshadow quads with this collection that each have 8 colors in them. And this some of you may recognize because it's exactly the same as the I Heart Mattes limited edition palette that Wet n Wild released, I don't know how long ago, but anywhere between 6 months and a year ago. So they're the exact same colors. If you already have the I Heart Mattes palette, you don't want to buy this palette because they are the same colors that you have in that palette already. But if you missed out on that palette and you are regretting it, then you have another chance with this collection. And this time around, this palette is called Drinking a Glass of Shine. And so the colors we have here, they aren't individually named, but I will describe the type of colors that we see here when I'm doing the swatches. I'm going to swatch these by column. So starting with the left column, we have a matte white shade. It's not completely opaque, but it does have great color to it. Next is a true green shade, or maybe a little paler than a true green, as a result of it not being entirely opaque. A little more product on the brush. Next is a matte ocean blue. And then we have a royal purple. Again, it's technically matte at its base and has very, very dispersed silver shimmer particles, but the shimmer particles don't show up very well, and frankly they don't adhere to the skin very well, so for all intents and purposes this is pretty much a standard purple shade. In the right column we have a creamy nude shade, matte also. And then we have a matte peach shade. Leans pretty tan, but it definitely has an orange tint to it. And then we have a warm toned matte brown. And last we have a black that has silver shimmer particles in it. These show up a little better than that purple shade that we saw, but once again, it's more matte, certainly, than it is shimmery or even glittery. So those were the colors from the Drinking a Glass of Shine palette. And next we have the Shimmer the Night Away palette. And here are the colors you get. Some of you who are more familiar with Wet n Wild may notice that a lot of these colors are similar to shades that you will find in the regular Wet n Wild palettes. So if you are someone who has a lot of these, then I would maybe take care to see how many colors you already have and therefore whether it's worth it to buy these palettes. First up is a shimmery frosty white shade. It's a very smooth application. Next up is this very frosty silver color. It's a high shine finish. Next is a charcoal shade with a lot of silver shimmer in it. So this isn't quite a black color, it's a very, very deep gray. And next is a black, again with a lot of silver shimmer particles in it. For this second column we have this pale shimmery lilac shade, and I did notice that this one is stiffer in the pan, so it's definitely not transferring as well as the colors that we've seen so far. And on the skin it shows up a little gray based, so it's not as pretty as it looks in the pan for sure. Next is this bright violet color, and the base of the shadow is more pink and then it has a more purplish sheen to it, so it has this duochrome effect. Next is this lavender shade with silver shimmer particles in it. And last is this violet blue color, again with silver shimmer particles in it. And third we have Sparkle Till Morning. And here are the shades for this palette. First, for the left row, we have this pale cream gold. It's very shimmery. Second is this light golden fawn color. Again, has a nice sheen to it. Third is this rusty bronze shade. And then we have this really bright aqua turquoise color that also has almost kind of a duochrome effect to it. It has kind of a silverish sheen to it. For the right column we have this very pale rose shade with a strong shine to the color. Next is this very deep gold shade. Almost has like a bronze tone to it. Third is a milk chocolate color. Has a much lower shine to it. And last for the shadows is this very deep brown color with lighter brown shimmer particles in it. So there were the 3 eyeshadow palettes for the holiday season. My thoughts before having actually applied them and tested them on the eyes, so just based on my experience with Wet n Wild eyeshadows and from the swatches that I've shown you in this video, my thoughts are that these shades have very, very good pigmentation, competitive with much higher end brands like MAC. The thing about them that gives away the fact that they're not as high quality, I think, is the formula. And I'm not actually talking about the consistency of the shadow, because they are actually quite soft, with just very few exceptions for some of the colors which had a stiffer formula. But they are quite soft and they blend over the skin very well. So even though the shades are not opaque, which many people don't want anyway, the shadows give off very good color. Now, the aspect of that I think is a little lower quality is that they blend almost too easily. So while initially when the brush touches the skin you get very strong color and a soft and what seems like a very blendable formula. I've found that with these kinds of shadows, the softness of the formula also means that it's a little too crumbly, and it makes it so that the shadow doesn't adhere to the skin as well and actually blends out too easily so that the color kind of fades. So I'll see if that's still the case with these palettes specifically, and I will let you know in the written review what the results were from testing them on the eyes throughout the day. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, one of the most important parts is that these palettes, at least where I have purchased them, are around $5 each. And then we have some new nail polish colors. And I do want to mention that if you also have a Sinful Colors near you, I think at Walgreens, that there are some exact dupes in the Sinful Colors range. Now, both of these companies, Wet n Wild and Sinful Colors, are very affordable, so just if you for some reason can't find these shades in the Wet n Wild display, hop on over to the Sinful Colors display, because I put the bottles up next to each other on some of these colors and I thought, this is exactly the same. So just to let you know, these are new shades and they are around $2 each. Here is Bling It On, Can You Hang the Mistletoe, Happy Holidays, Dancer is the Best Reindeer, and The Star of the Show. I'm going to start with Can You Hang the Mistletoe? And in the bottle, this is a very hot pink shade with variously sized confetti shimmer particles. But you can tell, and it's not surprising, that on the actual nails, the color is very sheer. So it just gives a very slight pink tint to the nails. So there's one coat, and applying a second coat definitely brings that hot pink shade out a little more, and even more dramatically is the showing of these very, very reflective shimmer particles. So there is what it looks like with 2 coats. Bling It On is, again in the bottle, a hot blue color. On the nails is transparent, so just leaves a slight blue tint on the nails, which looks a little strange in my opinion, because it's just a hint of this blue color. Once again, various size shimmer particles. The second layer brings that blue out a little more. Now, of course, you can apply this over a base color, whether that be a white shade to make this blue pop a little more, or whether you care more about the shimmer particles and you want to apply it to something like a black nail color. The Star of the Show is a clear polish, and then it has these silver star particles in the color, but you're going to kind of have to pick them up on the brush intentionally and apply them onto the nail. So unfortunately, you don't get really the benefit of having a lot of star shapes on the nail. It also has thinner confetti shimmer. So I'm going to let this coat dry and try to pick up more of those stars. And the stars are heavier than the other glitter particles, so it's actually, they sink to the bottom of the bottle, and it's hard to even scrape them out with the brush. So unfortunately, even though this looks very cute in the bottle, I don't think it's really that practical for getting the effect that you actually see. Well, maybe we'll try this. Got a few stars on the brush there this time. So anyway, you can experiment, and maybe you have a better method than I do, but I'm gonna stop here for now because I'm a little tired of trying to get those stars out of that bottle. And of course you can, and many of you will want to put this over a colored nail polish underneath. Happy Holidays is a teal color with gold and silver shimmer in it. Again, variously sized particles. And again, the color is translucent, so I personally don't find it very flattering to have a translucent green tint on the nails, but we'll see what it looks like with a second coat. Here is one coat. So a more dense showing of this color, certainly not a solid layer of color. You can still kind of see the nail underneath, but to me this is more flattering of an effect than having just that tint of green. Kind of makes the nails look a little sickly, whereas if you have this stronger layer of color, it looks intentional, like I'm wearing a green polish on my nails. And last is Dancer's Reindeer, which is actually a clear polish, but it has a lot of dark purple shimmer particles and blue shimmer particles in it. So in the bottle it kind of looks like it's a purple color, but that's just because of the density of the shimmer particles. So certainly I think you could just wear one coat of this color. And here's two coats. The formula for these nail polishes, the fast dry or speed dry, whatever they're called, is actually, I find, a little on the thicker side and a little more like a gel. So there's two coats of that color. Alright, so there are the new items for the Holiday 2012 season released by Wet n Wild. Again, these are great options because they're very affordable. To get an eyeshadow palette that gives you 8 colors for around $5 is a fantastic deal. Do I think that the formula is the best out there? No, but for the price point, I do think that actually they're probably the best eyeshadows that you can get for that price, because the colors are very pigmented and they have a smooth formula, even though it's not the perfect formula. The nail polishes I feel pretty so-so about. I'm not really wowed by any of them. I think because I personally don't prefer the sheer colors for the particular shades that we saw, except maybe the pink one, but to have a kind of sheer blue or green tint to me doesn't seem as flattering, because it to me looks like your nails are kind of stained, or I don't know, it just doesn't look flattering to me. But you can fix that with 2 or 3 coats. And of the 5 that I showed you, I definitely think that Dancer is the best reindeer. The last shade that we looked at is my personal favorite. So please let me know what you think of these items and what colors you liked the best. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.